Hey y'all, I got caught up on Prime Day on Amazon. So forgive me, I'm about 2 minutes late. But I got caught up. I didn't buy anything though. I was just looking. So I'm proud of myself. I was just looking and didn't buy anything. So mom shaming. That's what we're talking about today. Mom shaming. What is it and why? Why do we do it? So, I'm Deborah Porter. I am your mom coach with Mom's Mentoring Circle, and I support moms that are overwhelmed, overcommitted, overextended. And because of that, they're unable to connect with the woman they were before having kids, even though we know that girl still matters and she still has stuff that she wants to accomplish and that she wants to do. So that's who I am. That's what I do. But today we're talking about mom shaming. So if you're here and if you're joining, you see I'm using StreamYard. So please give them permission to use your name, or when you comment, please put your name so that I know who you are and that you are joining us. So what is mom shaming, y'all? And why do we do it? Hey, Audra Christie, how are you? Mom shaming. So one definition of mom shaming that I saw says that mom shaming is when a mom is criticized or degraded for her parenting choices because they differ from the choices of that of the shamer. And this can happen privately, publicly, and celebrities are not excluded. So recently, mom shaming is back in the news. I've kind of been, hi Claire, how are you? I've been kind of shying away from this topic of mom shaming because it's one of the few things in life that I actually use the word hate for, because I really do hate the way that moms are shamed by other moms, by strangers, people, just random stuff and people. But I couldn't escape it this time. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett Smith and her mom and her daughter. So 3 generations of Black women that gather around this red table and just talk about all kinds of stuff. So most recently, they were talking about mom shaming. And the New York Times even did a story on mom shaming. Audra says, this is such a timely topic. I've been shamed. I have shamed. And shame on me, shame on us, do better. Girl, I could end the live right there, Audra, with what you've just shared. But the article that the New York Times did in September of this year, this was shocking. I'm like, okay, and whether you like the New York Times or not, that's not the issue today. So let's not take side journeys that really get us off topic. The point of the matter is this topic is important enough that it made it to one of the most important publications in the country. And the title of the article is Mom Shaming Runs Rampant During the Pandemic. And here's my concern. It is hard enough being a parent and being a mom on a good day. To now be in the middle of a pandemic and literally trying to do the absolute best that we know how, having never been here before, and that this is the moment that mom shaming is running rampant. I can't say it's surprising to me, but it just adds to the reason why I dislike it. So, hey, Monica, how are you? So mom shaming happens over all kinds of topics and between all kinds of moms, working moms, stay-at-home moms, daycare, or whether my kids stay with grandparents. And can I just say, I am going to take a side journey right now. Can I just say that grandparents now aren't necessarily like the grandparents from my day, right? My grandmother was always at home watching her stories. For you all that know, those are the soap operas. She was at home every day watching her stories and was willing to have us over literally at the moment's notice of us at the door ringing the doorbell, right? No real time needed. Fast forward to grandmas of today who are traveling the world on cruises, have really developed other interests in their own lives and just may not be that available. But yet and still, this is one of the subjects that moms will shame each other over, whether your child's at daycare or with a grandparent. The Michigan Children's Hospital did a poll of 500 moms. 2/3 of them felt they had been mom shamed. And here's what I'm going to say about the remaining 1/3. They either didn't care they were being mom shamed or they didn't realize they were being mom shamed. I am convinced that every mom has been shamed at some point in her life. I am in different mom groups. I'm a mom coach. So as a mom coach, I go where moms go. So I'm in different mom Facebook groups. I'm involved with different mom organizations. And I have yet to meet a mom that has not been mom shamed. Now, what she chooses to do with that, again, is practice of her own. But I think all moms at some point have been mom shamed. So someone said to me, well, isn't mom shaming just another way of throwing shade? Okay, for some that may not know what throwing shade is. So throwing shade is saying a rude or slick comment to someone with few people recognizing that there was an actual insult in there. Okay, that's throwing shade. Mom shaming is actually questioning one of the roles that we hold very dear and that we are already doing the best we know how to do, at many times judging ourselves, but now being judged externally by people that may or may not know us. Completely different from throwing shade. Not that I'm a fan of throwing shade. I'm just simply saying it is completely different. It is more serious. It is more harmful. And we want to talk about today, what is it, why we do it, and what we're going to do about it. So in several of the mom groups that I'm in, the pandemic hits, right? And so now you've got working moms who have now become at-home moms. Right? Okay. Then follow me with this now. And then you've got stay-at-home moms who have been at home looking at working moms that are now at home saying, I bet you're not going to ask us now what we do all day. That's not cool. That's not cool. And let me just say, I have been all of these moms. I've been a new mom. I've been a working mom. I've been a stay-at-home mom. I'm a mother-in-law. I'm an empty nester. Haven't been a grandmother yet, but I've been many of these roles. And when I hear a stay-at-home mom have to justify her being at home in this manner by kind of being a little snide with her comments about, well, you're not going to ask now what I do all day, are you? Here's what I hear. And here's what concerns me. But I hear a woman who feels invisible, who's felt unappreciated, who feels or has a need to be validated. And let me just say what my coach says, Mia Redrick, validation is for cars in parking lots. We cannot live our lives as mothers needing outward validation for the role that we've chosen. I knew when I became a stay-at-home mother, it was going to be my responsibility to continue to feed my own interests, my own thirst for knowledge and reading and adventure. I was not going to surrender that because I chose to be a stay-at-home mom. And when I hear stay-at-home moms picking at working moms now that a pandemic has forced them home, I wonder about that. I wonder, where is that coming from? What's the motive for wanting to do that, as opposed to reaching out to that working mom and going, look, I got a few systems and things in place that I'm using. If you need some help, give me a holler. Audra says, I think mom shaming is a generational mindset that passes down from mom, auntie, uncles, head ushers. It is an internal projection of what you wish you could do. That's very interesting, Audra. Let me read that again. I think mom shaming is a generational mindset that passes down from mom, aunties, uncles, head ushers. It is an internal projection of what you wish you could do. We're going to get to some of that. And you are on target with what some of the experts have said. Audra also says, and I never ask the stay-at-home moms because I have zero interest. I applaud them, but applaud the working moms too. We're all holding it down and doing the best we can, period, end of story. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. And let me just say also, mom shaming knows no barriers. So this happens in every ethnicity, every religion, all classes, socioeconomic groups, all political backgrounds. Mom shaming is no respecter of persons. Okay. So I don't want us to think, well, this only happens to the moms that, however you would finish that sentence. This happens to and in every group of mom. And so here's what, I think about when I think about perhaps that, and I'm only talking about the stay-at-home mom right now because that's what I was. And so I have found a very interesting dynamic with the pandemic. And now, for months, all moms were pretty much at-home moms at that time. And it made me think about, y'all know the lady named Tabitha on Instagram. I am Tabitha Brown, I think is her name on Instagram. And she's got this really soothing voice. She's a vegan. She's on IG. She's now on OWN. She's doing the thing, right? But she's got this really soothing voice. And I think about her in these moments. And I just want to ask that at-home mom, what's the matter? And I want to use my Tabitha Brown. I don't have her voice. What's the matter? Why are you feeling so mad? Why are you crying, right? This is kind of how she talks. Y'all look her up. She's amazing. But I want to ask, why are you responding like that? Why is it in us and them? Whether it's working and not working, or working and staying at home and working at home, or whether it's breastfeeding and bottle feeding, or whether it's potty training early or potty training late, or whether it's co-sleeping or independent sleeping, like it just runs the gamut on all of it. And so what I want to talk about today, the first thing I want to really address is the types of mom shaming that are happening right now. There are many. We'll talk about 5. And then I want to talk about why. Why do we do it? Why do we do it? Why do the experts say that we do it? Yes. Why all the drama, Valerie says. Tabitha, yes, Tabitha is great. In her voice, like I feel like she should read a poem or a story in the app Calm. If y'all use Calm, sometimes I use Calm just kind of at the end of the day to kind of bring it all in, but she'd be amazing. But here are some of the different types of mom shaming. And listen, let me just say this, full disclosure, I've been mom shamed. And let me say, before having kids, I was a mom shamer, right? Because I'm thinking, why can't you get control of your child? Like, you're in the public place. Why can't you tell your child to act right and behave? I'm so sorry. I felt like every mom I ever saw after I had kids, I had to just go up to and apologize to, because I didn't know what I didn't know. So if you don't have kids, don't comment on it. Because there are certain things about motherhood and having children that if you're not walking in that space, trust me, you have no idea. You have no idea how difficult it can be to get a child simply to get dressed and get in the car. And that's why you see some children in December with bathing suits on and a coat in the grocery store. I've learned I'm not questioning that mother, not publicly or directly or in my head. Or it'll be summertime and this kid will have on boots, a coat, because at some point as a mother, you're just like, you know what? If that's how you want to go, because we got to go. And if that's how you want to look, and if that's how you want to dress, and if you want to be hot or cold or what have you, let's go. Let's just go. So I learned early on in my motherhood journey that my judgment of moms before I was a mom were way off base. Okay, so the 5 types of mom shaming we're going to talk about today are online, from another mother, by a stranger, by your own mom, or by yourself. These are all ways that we're shamed. And let me tell you, there's no mom shaming like the mom shaming you put yourself through as a mother. Let me just say that. And part of it is because it's done silently, right? We're not talking about it. It's this thing that's going on in our head. I don't want to jack them up. I don't want to mess this up. Oh my gosh, I messed this up today. Oh my gosh, are they ruined for life? Like these kinds of things, if we don't get control of them, it can run amok. All right. So online mom shaming. Let me just say, I'm going to try to be understanding and kind, but this really gets under my skin. Because I feel like you have people that are online and they're trolls and they're super brave behind a keyboard. and they say and they do things behind that keyboard with the protection of this screen that they would never do in public or to someone's face. And so there does come a time, moms, where we just have to shut it down. And when I say shut it down, I mean, there are times where it's not worth the scroll through Facebook, through Instagram, especially if you're having one of those days, because ideally somebody is going to be on there having an amazing day and everyone's going to be doing chores and the house is going to be clean and they're going to be helping with cooking, and you're going to look around your house and your family and be like, where'd y'all come from? Right? Because then we're beginning to compare. Y'all already know how I feel about that. Y'all already know how I feel about how collaboration over comparison any day of the week and twice on Sunday for me. I would rather collaborate with another mother. I would rather help a working mom who has now become an at-home mom because of COVID and give her whatever little bit of help I can to get some systems in place than to look back and judge her and watch her and be like, this is going to be interesting. Who does that help? No one. It helps no one. So when you've got these online shamers, I've become really good with the block button. Really good. I've become really good with the snooze button. Did y'all know you can snooze people for 30 days? I happen to use that feature often during election years because sometimes it's just too much. It's just too much. I don't need to know your every thought about every single thing happening. And I don't need to watch you share articles that are fake, not true, but because you didn't read them and you just saw the title and it somehow validates what you think, now you're sharing. I don't need none of that. So I've become real good with snoozing people, blocking people, and not from a position of, oh, they're all haters and they're hating on me. And I'm not saying that. I'm saying when you mess with my space and when you mess with me processing who I am, and when you mess with sharing fake and false information and peddling it as though it were true, yeah, I don't need that. It's enough to have to deal with the truth of what's going on. The last thing I need is having to wade through stuff that's not even true. So when you're thinking about online, moms, you really do have 100 complete control over that. It may take some discipline. It may take, I don't have it with me, but I have a little timer that I will set when I get online sometimes if it's not business related, and I'm not great at it, but I try to do it. But I will set a timer and tell myself, sometimes it's, okay, you got 10 minutes. You better scroll and find what you're trying to find in 10 minutes. Or maybe some days I'll give myself 30 or an hour, whatever it is. When that buzzer buzzes, I'm done. It's off. It's off. One Facebook user says, yes, snooze button works. Protect your peace. Oh my goodness. At all cost. Protect your peace at all cost. Okay, that's for online shaming. By another mom. Listen, this is how my grandmother used to say it. I've been thinking about my grandmother a lot, y'all. I've been quoting her a lot. My grandmother used to say, everybody has a belly button, but that doesn't mean I really want to know all about it or hear all about it. It's just like opinions. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has a belly button. I don't really want to talk about your belly button. I don't really care that you've got one. I know you've got one. I know everyone has an opinion. That does not mean it is appropriate for you to go around sharing your opinion every time you see somebody doing something that you don't agree with. It's not necessary. It's not welcomed. And it's just not cool. It's just not cool. So if you are being mom shamed by another mom, what is the appropriate way to deal with that? And listen, let me also say, if you have a story of having been shamed, or if you're brave enough to share a story of how you may have shamed someone else, like I just shared, how before I had kids, I mom shamed, please feel free to share it in the comments. I would love to be able to share that and people be able to grow and hear about that. But if you're being shamed from another mom, really change the topic. You can't change people, but you can change people. If you follow what I'm saying, you can't change how people behave, but you can change the people you choose to be around. And as people begin to show more of who they are, Maya Angelou always says, believe them. When they show you who they are, believe them the first time. I don't even like being around moms who will mom shame another mom to me, because I know when I walk away, guess what? I'm being mom shamed. So be careful and pay attention to how people are treating other people in your presence, because that matters. The third one is by a stranger. This happens often in the grocery store. So I actually have a couple of stories. Maybe I'll share those in a little bit. Yeah, I have a couple of examples, a couple of moms from my mom group and a couple of other mom groups. I'm not sharing any names, obviously, but they've shared some experiences of being mom shamed and what that felt like, what it looked like. It's just completely inappropriate as a stranger to do anything other than encourage a mom and let her know that she's doing a great job. I remember being on a flight with a mom. It was a short flight, maybe like 90 minutes. And she had two little ones. They were under the age of 4. I think they were like 3 and 1.5 or something like that. And I'm going to tell you what, these little girls gave this mom a run for her money, but she did the best. She had all the coloring books, the toys, the snacks. She did everything she knew to do. What she did not account for was how those babies' ears were going to be popping and hurting on that plane. She didn't know. She's a new mom. She didn't know. First time she was flying with her kids. And so the only thing I could do was offer. I had a fan that one of the kids was fascinated by. And so, I mean, it's a short flight. I gave the kid the fan. Literally, the kid walked off the plane with the fan. It didn't even matter at that point. She just was trying to keep the piercing eyes from looking at her like, can't you control these children? So be the stranger that helps out the mom that's doing the best she can in the moment. Don't be the one piercing her with your eyes. The third one, or maybe it's the fourth one is being shamed by your own mom. Now, one of the mom groups I'm in, a mom asked, this particular mom group, I'm not even gonna name it, this particular mom group, it's a big mom group, lots of people. And oftentimes the moms are asking for advice, or what should I do? Or tell me how to do this. You guys have been moms longer, or you've had teenagers already. So anyway, this mom is a neonatal nurse, I believe was, yes. And her son and daughter-in-law, who had not been married super long, had just had a baby. Baby was completely healthy and fine. But this mom, being that this was her profession, dealing with very sick babies, she knew a lot. She knew a lot about how to handle a baby, how to bathe a baby, change a baby, put a baby to sleep, feed a baby. She knew all of that. But what she was doing was overstepping her bounds and stepping into her son and daughter-in-law's house and almost taking charge of the baby because she's the expert. Now, her point to us was that the daughter-in-law was starting to get snippy with her. And her question was, do I put her in her place or am I wrong? And so I hung back. I didn't say anything, but I watched these other moms tell her, it's your daughter-in-law's house that you're in and your son. It's their home. You cannot go into someone else's home, putting them in their place unless they are harming this baby. It is inappropriate for you to step in, even as the expert, and offer unsolicited advice just because you can do it better. This young mom is a brand new mom. How else is she going to learn how to do it unless you are there to provide her tons of encouragement, tons of support, because you are the professional, as opposed to coming in the door and taking over? One mom in the group went so far to tell her, if you want to be invited over for Christmas, you need to take a step back. And so I share all that to say, even if the mom shaming has come from your mother, or if you are the mother/grandmother in this example, even if you have the expertise, even if you've had 15 kids and you know how to do it all, back up. Let them ask for your advice. Don't just walk in the door because you're the expert, you're the grandmother, you're the mother-in-law, you know it all, because it can be damaging, not just to the relationship with the in-law child, but you're forcing your child to choose a side in that situation. And then the final one is, the final type of mom shaming is mom shaming that we do of ourselves. And that is really what's going on in our heads. Let's see, Monica says, I helped a mom in the same instance, but with a newborn. And I am sure she is probably still talking about you today, Monica. It is moments like that that restores our faith in humanity. When you are a mother and you feel like you are out there by yourself trying to figure this out, just one person stepping in and offering support or encouragement can make all the difference. So back to the Red Table Talk, which is Jada Pinkett Smith's show. So this particular conversation was about mom shaming. She talked about being mom shamed. Here's what was interesting. Her daughter, Willow, talked about having to witness her mother being mom shamed because of decisions Willow chose, right? So Willow openly speaks about, you know, we've all had moments, not the best decisions as teenagers, as our brains are forming, but she talks about the pain that was involved watching her mother be blamed because of the decisions she was making. And then finally, Jada's mother spoke about the mom shaming that she put on herself because of poor choices. You know, it's not a secret that Jada's mom was addicted to drugs when Jada was young. And so there's, you know, they've been completely restored. Her mother's healthy and living a great life now, but she speaks about those years and how she shamed herself often. So, but on this episode, so they share their story. Then they have two everyday regular moms, but then they also have two celebrity moms. And so one of the everyday moms, a lady by the name of Christina, she's on Facebook. She has a huge thriving mom community, and she's a pastor's wife. And I think she has 5 or 6 kids. Let me tell you the things that people will say to her when she's out with the kids without her husband. Are all those your kids? Have y'all ever thought about using birth control? What? What? Who in their right mind will see a complete stranger and ask them about their reproductive habits or practices? Who does that? It's none of your business. It's none of your business if she is a single mother with 6 kids. If none of your business if there's a husband. It's none of your business if there's 5 daddies. It's none of your business. And making comments like that are harmful. Audra says, I think Jada's parenting style was new to all of us. She empowered her kids. We were raised in a command and control environment, but they loved their mama. Indeed. Completely different way than I was raised or than the way I raised mine. But what does it bring to the table or the situation for me to judge her because of that, because it was different? It brings nothing. Audra says, I blame the parents. Who are these people? Yeah, I just don't even understand how you can go up to a complete stranger. You don't even know a fraction of the story. These could have been her nieces and nephews, like you don't know. And so, you know, she just, this pastor's wife just spoke about the audacity of people to step in and say things so inappropriately. So here's what Dr. Alexandra Sachs, a psychiatrist, says about why mom shaming occurs. And it's very much in line with what Audra shared at the top of this live. Here's what she says. Competition and criticism of others is often a projection of insecurity and instability. I'm going to take a sip of water and I'm going to just let that sit for a moment. Mom shaming. Why does this happen? That was my question. Why do we do it? Psychiatrist Alexandra Sachs, who I think was quoted in this New York Times article, but if you Google her, this quote will show up as one of hers. Competition and criticism of others is often a projection of insecurity and instability. So in other words, it says a whole lot more about you or whoever is doing the mom shaming than it does the mom who may be struggling in that moment. It just does. Listen, confident moms don't need to do that, because confident moms know it's not about comparing myself or me being in competition with you. It's about me collaborating you to be my best self. Confident moms know that judging you really just reveals my heart and where I am and what my struggle is. And y'all know I wrote an ebook entitled 7 Habits of a Confident Mom. I'll put the link here if you want to get it, if you want to share it, I'll put it here. But it's 7 habits, it's 7 things that I've noticed over my, 30 years of being a mother that confident moms all have in common. No matter where they live, no matter how many kids they have, there are certain habits and things that confident moms all have in common. And the biggest one is they don't compare. They don't compare themselves. They would choose rather to collaborate. So how are we going to stop mom shaming? It starts with you as an individual. And the first thing that really supports and assists with stopping mom shaming is extending grace, and extending grace to ourselves and to others. Because see, if you're not gracious with yourself, then you don't know how to offer that. If you're not forgiving of yourself and your own faults and mistakes, because as parents, we all make them. And there is a path to how to overcome those, but we have to start from a place of extending grace to ourselves so that we can get in the practice and habit of what that looks and feels like to be able to extend it to others. The second thing that's going to help with stopping mom shaming is to stop comparing ourselves to others. And so we're picking what might be a horrible moment for us and looking at what might be the best day they've had in years. It's not an apples to apples comparison. It's not. And so it's not useful and it's not helpful. The third way that we're going to work on ending and stopping mom shaming is by developing empathy, not sympathy. No one wants to hear, I'm so sorry that happened to you. I'm sorry for you. No one wants to feel like people are sorry for us. But what we would like is for people to feel as though, how would I feel if that were happening to me? How would I feel? This is what I should have been thinking as a single woman with no children, but I was in my 20s. I didn't know. But what I should have thought was, what if that were me? And I had a child to completely fall out in the store, and everybody that walks by is piercing their eyes, looking at me like, oh, what a horrible mother you are. You don't even know how to handle your own child. Audra says, how about if you don't have a kind word of encouragement to offer, shut your mouth? Well, and then there's that. Sticks and stones. Remember that? Words will always hurt me. So it starts internally. Absolutely. Whenever I hear or feel or engage with someone that is harsh or mean or unforgiving or not gracious to others, I instantly realize this is how they deal with themselves. It's not about me at all. This is really all about what's going on inside of them. So developing empathy. Had I been able to see that mom, I remember this day like it was yesterday. I was probably a month out of college, had just graduated, started my first job. I was making a whole $15,000 a year and thought I was really doing something. This is back in the 80s, y'all. So you could actually live off of that. But I remember walking in the store and I remember this kid just straight out falling out on the floor. And this mother just kept shopping. I was like, oh my God, who does that? Well, fast forward a few years, add a couple kids to the mix. Been there, done that. Been there, done that. Empathy makes it about them, that mom, and how I can support, as opposed to, oh, if that were me, if that were my child. See, that's what single people like to do a lot, or not even just single people, but people that don't have children too. If that were my kid, I would yoke that kid by the neck. I would this, that. Yeah, you don't know what you would do. Because parenting is not something that you can figure out until you're there. So instead of making it about you in that moment and what you would do, how about making it about how is she feeling right now and how can I best encourage her? Maybe just a smile. Maybe just telling her how adorable that kid is. maybe just reminding her what a great kid that kid is on another day. So those are the three things we want to think about when we're talking about stopping mom shaming. Don't engage in conversations that do that. So extending grace to yourself and then to others, stopping the comparison, and developing empathy. All right, and I'm going to end with just a few examples of stories that moms have shared with me. Some were in some of these mom groups, my mom group, and others that I found online. Stories that moms have shared about how they were mom shamed, right? So one talked about, I just mentioned the pastor's wife. She's mom shamed about having too many children and that she should be on birth control. Unless that family is coming to you for money to provide for these children, it's really none of your business. Really. So another one is kids having meltdowns at grocery stores. One mom said, this blew me away. One mom said that an old gentleman came up to her and said, you should just shop online. You need to just buy your groceries online or have them delivered to your house because this is ridiculous. Dude, just keep moving. Just keep shopping. Just walk around my kid having a fallout. Just keep shopping. Inappropriate comment. Now, maybe he thought he was being helpful. I don't know. Wasn't there. So I don't know the tone or any of that. But she perceived it as mom shaming. Using baby formula instead of breastfeeding. Can I just say, okay, listen, I've had 3 children. I breastfed my oldest. We were like textbook. It was like a video, like a teaching video on how to breastfeed. It was amazing. So the second kid, I'm thinking it's going to be amazing. I'm going to do it again. It was a nightmare because this kid was a snacker. So this kid, whereas my oldest would nurse, be done till next nursing time and then nurse, right? You know how you go from one side to the other. This second child wanted to snack every 15 or 20 minutes. And I don't want to get real graphic, but if you've breastfed and you understand what that can do to you, and then to add to that, he was super allergic to everything I ate. And I would literally be crying my eyes out while he was breastfeeding. So, my wonderful husband did. He went out, came back from the store with like 5 different formulas. He was like, pick a formula, try a formula. We're now bottle feeding this baby because this is not going to work. So when you see someone bottle feeding and your preference was breastfeeding, that was for you. Has nothing to do with the choice that this mother's making. You don't know her story. You don't know what she's been through. You don't know whether she struggled, tried, and my third child, I did not even try to breastfeed. I was like, you know what? That didn't go well. I'm a little bit older now. We're not doing that. So it's just one of those things that provide support, provide encouragement, or keep walking, or like my dear sister Audra says, shut your mouth. Okay? Because it's not necessary. Another way that moms are being mom shamed now, this happens a lot where we live in Virginia, having a nanny, and how some moms will almost shame parents that have the ability to hire someone to come into their home so that they don't have to do daycare or grandparents. Sometimes hiring someone to come in is cheaper than a daycare. I heard some woman say to this lady in the grocery store, well, I sure hope your nanny isn't like the ones on TV that are abusing the babies. And I'm thinking, are you serious right now? That's your response to a complete stranger that you don't even know? Audra says, I struggle when I see kids that are 5 years old breastfeeding. I know. They call that extended breastfeeding. I know. Now, Audra, not something you and I would do. But you know what? Not my issue. Now, if you ask me for some advice or you want to know what I think, you'll ask me. But the whole situation with the nanny, don't shame people or try to move people into fear because of what you believe. or because of the crime shows you watch about nannies that abuse children. It's inappropriate. Here's another one that comes up a lot: breastfeeding in public. Everybody has an opinion on that. Should she cover up? Should she not cover up? Is it a natural thing to do? What's the big deal? One of the celebrity moms on Red Table Talk has gotten a lot of pushback. What she said, she was breastfeeding her son. They were in a booth and she was breastfeeding her infant son. And literally the people in the next booth handed her like a napkin or something to cover herself. It's another one: co-sleeping or independently sleeping. Let me just tell you that Cliff Porter wasn't having no babies sleep in our bed. They could be sick. They could be feverish. Cliff's point was the same God that will heal them in here when we pray for them will heal them in their room when we pray for them. It doesn't matter. They don't need to be in our bed. So that was something we did not do because we knew many parents that had done that and then could not get their children out of their beds as they got older. That was our choice. There are people that co-sleep as families into middle school years. I know a woman who they had a huge family bed made for their family, and literally they all slept in the same bed every night. Their choice, right? Then we've got the thing of homeschooling, unschooling, classroom schooling. You know, a while back, I had Yaya Smith on. Yaya is an entrepreneur. She is the feminine success coach. She has homeschooled her kids for years now. I don't think her kids have ever been to public school. And she spoke about how people would try to bully. Someone's laughing because of my husband. Yeah, I don't know who this Facebook user is, but you got to know Cliff to understand that whole dynamic. But yeah, he wasn't having it. But Yaya shared with us how people would tell her, your children are not going to be properly socialized if you homeschool them or unschool them. Unschooling means unschooling is more for students that have been to school and are now coming to the homeschool space, and how to kind of deprogram them from that setting to a life learning setting, whereas it doesn't have to happen regimented like a school schedule. Yaya with homeschooling says that people would tell her, your children are not going to be properly socialized. And what she reminded all of us is that socialization and education and academics do not always happen in a classroom, that it is appropriate for you to be able to set up in real life situations and scenarios the learning and educating of your child. So if in any of those examples that I've mentioned, and there are more, this is just the few of the ones of the moms I spoke with or researched. If in any of those scenarios you find yourself stepping in where unasked, you need to check that. If you are the mom who is being shamed, you need to be able to draw that very clear boundary and know where the line stops with unsolicited information coming from people that you've not asked. Another one is the epidural or natural birth. I ended up having to have 3 C-sections. I tried for natural birth with my first 2. And I was going to get that epidural if I had to puncture my own spine. Yeah, I was. It didn't matter how that was going to happen. That was going to happen. If Cliff had to go down to the corner and get some illegal drug, somebody was giving me something for this pain, or nobody was going to be happy. Now, that was my choice. Now, the lady 2 doors down did not want anything. She didn't want any kind of intervention, any kind of medicine. Kudos to her. Amazing. Not my thing. Not my thing. I really wanted that drug. I really wanted that epidural, and I was willing to name my child after the doctor that gave it to me. But it's an individual decision. And it doesn't make sense to sit and judge someone based on what they did for themselves and what was right for them in that moment. Being a single mom, right? You don't know how that woman got to be a single mom. You don't know if she was married, if somebody may have died. You don't know. So it's not fair. I mean, I could go on and on and on. I remember this is funny now. It wasn't at the moment. I can laugh now. I was shamed by a family member because the cookies that I made at Christmas were not homemade. I started with like the sugar cookies, and we cut them out, I rolled them out, but I started with the sugar cookie dough already made. And a family member said, you are ruining your children's Christmas memories by not making the cookies from scratch. Really? No, that didn't ruin their memory. That didn't ruin their Christmas memories because the cookies weren't made from scratch. But I could have internalized that. And then I could have run out to the store and got sugar and flour and thought, oh my gosh, I have to do this. No, we made those cookies and I offered one to that family member. They said, well, I don't eat cookies that aren't made from scratch. Well, then there's more for us. Okay, it's okay. But these are all, I'm telling you, mom shaming happens in so many different ways. What we've got to be able to do, and this is what we work on in my Facebook group, my mom Facebook group, and in my coaching and programming, is how to appropriately set boundaries when people begin to cross them. There is a respectful way to do it. There is a sure way to do it. There is a way to do it to keep it from occurring over and over again with the same person. So what I would like to do is invite you, if you are a mom, I would love to invite you into our Facebook group, Habits of a Confident Mom. We can all grow in confidence as moms. We can all grow in best practices for being a confident mom. So I really wanted to come to you today, one, because mom shaming has been in the news lately because of the Red Table Talk. And two, because normally it's that thing that's unspoken and people don't really talk about it. So I thought, oh my gosh, it's in the news. So I need to step into this. I don't like talking about this because I get really upset about it. But I thought, you know what, this is a great opportunity. So if you have experienced mom shaming and you're not quite sure how to handle that, come into the group. Come into Habits of a Confident Mom. If you are a mom shamer, and you use yourself and what you've done as a mom as always the example of what it should be and how it should look, you need to come into the group too. Because ultimately, we've all made decisions that, looking back, we could have done different or maybe even better. So I will put the link up for joining our group, Habits of a Confident Mom. I will also put the link up for the free ebook of the 7 Habits of a Confident Mom. And if I can support you in this, if you've got some areas that are really, you're hurting because of some mom shaming that you've experienced, just send me a private message. You don't have to put it in comments or anything, but send me a private message because it can hinder your growth and role as a mom and a woman if you hold on to these words and these voices, even if they're your own, about you not being enough, or you not measuring up, or you're not a good mom. If you battle with any of that kind of shaming of yourself or from others about yourself, send me a message. I want to be able to just encourage you and give you some tips on how to be able to move past that. Okay. So in the meantime, I will leave those links in the comment. Hey, Catrice, how are you? It's good to see you. I will leave those links in the comments about how to join our Facebook group. It's a free Facebook group. And I will also leave the link for the ebook, 7 Habits of a Confident Mom. But y'all, let's make a decision. Let's just take a stand. Listen, right now, it's a lot we need to be taking a stand on. I'm taking a stand against people that want to mom shame mothers. I'm not letting that happen in my presence. I'm also taking a stand on people making inappropriate racial remarks and comments about people in my presence. I'm not taking that either. Like, there's so much right now to take us on. I'm taking a stand on people being in my presence and me being in theirs that refuse to wear a mask. I mean, there's so much going on right now. But listen, this is the moment. This is the moment that who we are has got to rise up, draw those boundaries very clearly. And I'm telling you, it makes life a lot easier for everybody. Hey, Diana, how are you? So Diana says, great chat, preach that. So listen, I appreciate you guys joining me. This went a little longer than I thought today, but this is one of the ones that really gets under my skin about mom shaming. So Choose to be mom cheerleaders instead of mom shamers. And even if it's happening in your circle, if you see it, choose to speak to that. Okay. I appreciate you guys. Right. Rise it right on up. Thank you, Diana. I appreciate you guys. Listen, have a great evening and I will chat with you guys soon. Okay. Bye.